Hi, and we're back on the Matchmaker Hotline. I'm your host, Brianna Craig, and here is Mariah Elena co-hosting with me today. She's going to be our new co-host for Wednesdays, so I'm super happy about that. I wanted to go ahead and tell you our topic of the day, which is going to be babies, babies, and more babies. So, what are millennials doing about having children? Are they still having children as much as our parents' generation? Are we wanting to, raise them to go to college, raise them in a traditional parenting role? Are we wanting at home births, hospital births, vaccinations, no vaccinations? These are just some of the topics that we're going to go over today. So, first, we're going to go over an article. It is by Catherine Donaldson Evans, and it's the 9 biggest parenting dilemmas she's faced so far. So basically, number one, this is really controversial with our generation. Spanking, most millennials, we got spanked, but now our generation doesn't really believe in spanking so much. So what would you have to say about spanking?
For me personally, I mean, I don't have kids. I don't plan on having kids anytime soon. But I know for me personally, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with spanking your child, as long as it's for the right reasons. And it's just like a little extra push just to discipline your child. It's as long as you're not beating them or degrading them by spanking them. I think it's perfectly fine as a parent to do that.
Okay, but what about the case where one child, grandchild, called the police on their grandma and their grandma got arrested just for spanking them? What do you think?
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
that's kind of where the world is leaning towards. Like, spanking is abuse. Don't spank your children. I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me.
I mean, I think there has to be rules, especially as a parent. You want to make sure that there are ground rules for, especially like grandparents, what they're allowed to do. I know, like, I think growing up, my mom was completely okay with my grandmother disciplining us in that way. She rarely ever did, but it definitely was okay. Now versus, like an aunt or uncle disciplining your child doing that, I don't think that's okay.
So it kind of draws the line, like your parents can do it, but your siblings cannot.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that could be different for every, family, just depending on the closeness. Some people might not ever want their parents disciplining their kids. Maybe they're like harsh, or maybe they're not close. Maybe they're closer to the sibling. I guess it does all depend on that trust level, how they take care of their kids, if they have kids, if they love the kid. You don't want someone spanking your kid that doesn't really care much for them or seems kind of disconnected, because then they're really going to beat them. Okay, so second topic we have is childcare. Second dilemma in baby raising. I think this is the biggest one.
Yeah.
I definitely think
I actually used to work in a child care center, and I will not be putting my kids in childcare unless it's like the very last option for me. But so I started off working with 3-year-olds, and then I went to working with 2-year-olds, and I was the only childcare giver, and out of I think it was like 11 2-year-olds in one room.
Wow.
And in the state of Texas, like that's legal.
Wow.
Those are like the licensing laws. And it was very, very stressful every single day. I mean, there's obviously going to be incidents where like children are biting each other, hitting each other, and just like, especially if like you're putting your child like in a childcare center where there's only one teacher in the room at a time, things are gonna happen, and it's really hard to see everything and be on top of everything. On top of like creating like the education plans. It was also a Christian based childcare center, so I wasn't only just teaching them like ABCs 1 2 3s. I'm teaching them like Bible stories and making sure like we're praying and things like that. And it was all of that on top of just trying to watch them and make sure that they're safe. It's stressful.
Yeah, I used to work for daycare as well, and I was one of two teachers for 15 4-year-olds. And honestly, I think the worst part is just the parent, you know, and the worst part is also when the child starts playing in their own feces. That's also pretty gross. But yeah, I only worked there for like 6 weeks. So I was like, I'm out, because I mean the parents like at these daycares, they're so rude to the daycare workers. Like, I just want to say, like, just if your kid gets in trouble, your kid gets hurt, you have to understand that that's just a part of them being in a daycare. When you sign up them for daycare, that's going to happen, and most of the time it's your kid that's causing the problem. If you're the one getting an attitude, it's always the ones with like the problematic children that are the ones like angry. Like, you know, like I remember one parent, her kid like punched another in the face, or made him fall or something, and he had a bloody face, and she had the audacity to say, oh well, why is my child, you know, got slobber on him or something, or why, why, she was worried about her kid. She didn't even apologize to the other parent, didn't even apologize about anything. And it's just like, don't put your kid in daycare if you know they're really, really bad. Like, please fix your kid before you put them in daycare.
Used to hate that. Thankfully, the childcare center I worked at, the parents were always really nice. Really? It was only like every once in a while, like the parent would get upset about small things, but it was very rare. Most of the issues I had working there was with the staff, and it was mainly like the director of the school. She was horrible. But because her own kids, she enrolled her own kids there too, so her youngest was in my class, and her child was having a real issue biting other children, and she would get mad at me for not for her child biting other students. And I'm like, well, I'm doing the best I can in the classroom. What are you doing at home? And anyway, so one of, her daughter kept biting one of the students over and over, and this was like kind of like one of the last times. And I told the parent, the other parent, I was like, hey mom, like, I'm just letting you know, here's the ALT report for today. He got bit again today by another student. And she was like, was it the director's daughter? And I was like, yeah. I was always very honest with the parents, which is why, like, I never really had issues with the parents. But she was like, I don't blame you at all. She's like, her daughter should, like, she should be disciplining her daughter better at home. And anyway, when I told the director what had happened, that the parent got mad about her daughter and not mad at me, she got mad at me and and suspended me for that. And I'm like,
you got suspended for
oh my god, for her own daughter's behavior.
That's why, like, childcare. Okay, two things that are just so hard on people: working in childcare, especially with the young kids, and then the second would probably be like teaching, because teachers get that as well, especially like with elementary and stuff. Okay, my kid's failing. Okay, your kid, makes spitballs all day in class, but you're wondering why your kid is failing. But yeah, parenting, a lot of parents, they just want to put the blame on someone else. But I mean, I think another aspect with childcare, other than worrying about something happening to them, you have to worry about their just general safety. I mean, forget getting bit in class. There is actually a student, a little kid that was left in a school bus. I think it was in Texas. And
I remember hearing about this. Yeah,
that was in Texas, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was here in Houston. It was like I want to say the north side of Houston. I think that's where it happened.
And just died. Just was left in the school bus and died in the heat. You know, it gets hot here.
Yeah.
And for what, 3 or 4 hours? I mean, it wasn't super long, but it's long to
It's
be in a
long
hot
enough,
bus.
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just so sad to think that like you can be dropping off your kid at these childcare places and they don't come home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've also heard a story where this parent, she had just had her baby, so they were an infant, and um the baby just passed away in its sleep at the daycare. And they don't really know why. They think that, 'cause this apparently happens a lot with
Mhm.
some babies, like after the maternity leave,
Mm.
you know, the moms go back to work,
Mhm.
they have to leave their child wherever, and the baby just passed away from being sad, from being away from the mom for so long.
Oh my
um
gosh! Wow.
they don't really know why it happens, but it just sometimes it does happen with babies.
Wow, I think I'm never gonna leave my child now. Well, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom now. I just decided I'm not leaving my baby for about 3 years. Yeah, I'm not working for 3 years. I'm just making the announcement now when I have kids. But and then the third aspect of childcare is the cost.
Oh, I know.
What is the average cost? Do you think?
I don't even remember. I don't know.
I
Do
know
you
with
have
the
the
one.
numbers?
I know that the one that I was at, it was like a general daycare,
Uh-huh.
and I believe it was about like if you had the special like assistant, government assistant, I think it was like 150 for like a 4-year-old, and then if you had a baby, it was more expensive.
Yeah.
And then if you didn't have government assistance, I forgot what that program is called, but if you didn't have government assistance, it was about 200 a week.
Wow. I think it was
Yeah.
around the same prices at
Mhm.
the childcare I worked at too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
Yeah. But really, that's way more than a car note. That's a car note plus insurance and plus your light bill. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a lot. Actually, that's probably a lot of people's rent. $800 a month. That's a lot.
And most of the time you're paying every week. Like
Mhm.
I remember the childcare I was working at, every Friday the parents were making their payments
Mhm.
for that week. So I mean, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is a lot of money. And what do you I mean what do you do? Because realistically, the average job right now, for someone I guess our age, even with a college degree, I mean, you're getting $16 if you're lucky. I mean,
Mhm.
that's realistically what about 1,000 every 2 weeks, but you're supposed to put almost half of that towards childcare.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just kind of like so you're working like if you are a mom and you go back to work, you're basically working to pay for daycare and to live on maybe $1,000 or $1,200 after
Yeah.
for a lot of people. Now that's not everyone's situation. Some people get paid, $20, $25, but realistically for people who are, in their 20s, some people are 21 having kids, 22, 23, 24, even with degrees. I mean, just jobs they're not paying like they used to.
Yeah.
Because everyone has a degree now. Everyone's looking for a job, especially with coronavirus. There's a lot of unemployed people, so companies can kind of pay what they want. So, childcare, I think that is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of millennials are choosing not to have kids because honestly,
Can't afford
yeah,
to put their kid in childcare.
a lot of people just can't afford to put their child in childcare. It's true. I mean, I think honestly, if you're going to have a child right now, you really need to make sure that you have a solid partner that's going to be there with you and help you because you literally can't afford to do it on your own with what people are paying. So the third tip or the third problem is juggling the needs of two. Everyone says that going from one child to two is exponentially more difficult, and it's so true. The hardest thing about juggling both children's needs is making sure they are equally taken care of and loved. It's a constant balancing act, but it can be done. You just get very, very tired in the process. What do you think about that? Two children making them feel equally loved?
Um, I mean, I think that's possible.
Yeah.
I grew up. I'm the oldest out of three sisters. Four sisters, right? No, three sisters. Wait, I'm the oldest. I have three younger siblings. So okay, there's one out of four. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so I'm the oldest. And I'm the oldest from both of my parents, and then the middle sister, she's the only sibling that I have from both my parents, and then
Okay.
the other two is like from each side, like one parent.
Hmm.
And I mean, I've always felt like I was loved equally. I think now that my parents kind of they each had their own kid outside from their divorce. I definitely see that the younger ones get a little bit more attention, and maybe they got a lot more things that I never got growing up. But I think that's just I think that's part of life. I think that's maybe they saw some things that from watching me grow up that they felt like they could have did better. So, they're raising their youngest in a better way.
Honestly, I think everyone, when their parents, is a little bit nicer to the younger kids. And
Mm-hmm.
that's not an insult to the parents. My mom was way nicer to my little brother than she was to me. But it's nothing personal. It's just with your oldest one, you have to be harsh with them because it's your first time. You want everything to be perfect. You have this ideal of like how you want them to be, and you're so set on that. And then with the younger kids, you're like, oh, you want to get a tattoo and a piercing and try pot? Okay, the younger kid, you're just
Yeah.
more lenient because you're, I don't know, tired. I mean, I don't know, but it just seems like with most people, you're just more lenient on the younger children.
Yeah.
And it's good and it's bad. Like, yes, as an older child, you get less, I guess, love and attention. It seems like, but at the same time, you also get it really, I think, shapes your personality, and it makes you, stronger. It makes you more disciplined because, as an older child, you have higher expectations, and you a lot of times have higher standards for yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because you kind of do go by your parents' standards, especially like early on in life.
Yeah.
So the next tip is getting them to sleep through the night. So this is talking about getting your children to sleep through the night is a pretty big problem. I've heard of that. What have you ever known anyone to deal with that or?
I don't think I know anybody personally that has had to deal with that. I know that there's parents that I know, like my own mom. She's slowly been trying to transition my 7-year-old sister to sleep in her own bed.
Oh,
Which
God.
yeah, which I get that because I think even I think I was like up to 12. I was every now and again sleeping with my mom. But that's just because like we were all close like that. But I mean, I think I was still maybe like her age and still being able to sleep in my own bed. This one, she's just so scared. She doesn't want to be left alone ever. She's so scared of the dark. So I see that more so being an issue versus like dealing with like babies or young children not being able to sleep through the night.
Yeah, I think that that's a problem during the first several months, but like you said, also getting them adjusted to sleeping on their own is hard when they're around 7 to 10. And so we are going to go to break, and we'll be right back with some more dilemmas in parenthood and baby raising. And you're on the Matchmaker Hotline.
This is former Rocket Robert Reed,
This is Mel Jewell of Athlete Unite.
and we want to talk to you about our new program and podcast. We're talking about former athletes who are doing a lot of things in the community.
Various athletes in various sports, swimming, track, soccer, football, baseball, you name it.
Former and current athletes here in the greater Houston area.
All promoting wellness, health, all promoting that which makes us all better.
Of Edge Radio, truth still matters.
The Natural Nation Network is really about taking control of your health physically, spiritually, emotionally, even intellectually, because there's so much out there in misinformation. There's a lot of people now that are suffering from all sorts of diseases that they really wouldn't have to suffer for if they had better information. And that's what we're here to do. Provide information that can save lives.
The mind and the body are totally connected.
Health can be really serious, and sometimes we just have to lighten it up a little bit while we're still providing substantive information.
And my sort of mantra on the salsa dance floor is kind of similar. I tell somebody, if you make a mistake twice, it becomes a move. Okay,
Tune into Natural Nation every Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Hi, and welcome back to the Matchmaker Hotline. I'm your girl, Brianna Craig, and I'm here with Mariah. So we are back with some baby dilemmas. Basically, what are the big issues millennials are facing when trying to bring kids into the world right now? So let's look at our tip number 6. The last one we went through was getting them to sleep through the night, which is obviously a huge issue for that first 6 months. You don't want to be awake during the night and during the day, because that's killer.
Especially if you're a first-time parent, I'm sure that could be very stressful.
Mm-hmm. What do? Do you just shake the baby during the, when you want it to sleep or when you want it to be awake, just shake it during the day and just be like, okay, well, hey, wake up, so it doesn't sleep through the day and then you're up all night?
I don't really know.
I'm just kidding. Don't shake your baby.
Don't shake your baby. That's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you can do. That will kill the baby. Don't shake your babies. But you know what I never understood? If you can't shake your baby, and this might sound like a stupid question because I've never had a child, but why do they have those things that shake your baby for it? You put the baby in and it's shaking back and forth.
Those what are they called? A rocker?
Yeah, but it's automatic.
Yeah, it's I don't know, they go side to side or they go around. But I mean, they're slow. They're not fast.
Yeah. I mean, even if they're not slow, but you're shaking it for 30 minutes, if shaking the baby is not okay, I don't see how.
Well, when they say shaking the baby, they mean you're literally grabbing the baby and you're bouncing, violently shaking that child.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I just needed some clarification on that, because as soon as I saw the first time I saw a baby in one of those things, I was like, I thought you weren't supposed to do that, but okay.
Actually, I would say before we go to the next one, this happened a couple of years ago. One of my neighbors, they had an infant, and he actually passed away sadly because I don't know what exactly happened, but I know that the mom had left her baby in the car seat carrier. And I mean, I think it's fine maybe for up to an hour probably to leave your baby in a car seat like that, but I think she left him in there all night, and it eventually because the baby's not really sleeping right, so it's kind of I don't know how to explain it. It's curled up.
That can kill a baby?
Yeah, because it's blocking the lungs from getting enough air. So
wow.
Yeah, and I think recently the news was just touching that subject recently, because apparently it's happening a lot where people are just leaving their baby in the car seat and it's blocking their airway.
Oh my! Why would they even make it to where it would?
Well, because you're not
away?
supposed to leave. You're not necessarily. It's not used to leave a child in there for long periods of time. It's just for car rides and that's it.
So I'm guessing they took the car seat out of the car and brought it in their house and just left them in there. Is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I don't think they lived there. I think she was just visiting her dad, who was our neighbor. But yeah, and I think they had all just been like hanging out that night.
Wow.
And so they just stayed the night there. And so when it was like early in the morning, we saw like the ambulance and stuff. It was really sad.
That is like, oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually worked with a guy that he just went upstairs one day and his baby had passed away, and they still don't know why or how it happened, but him and his wife, they had two other kids, and him and his wife, they ended up getting separated, probably divorced now, but separated because of that issue. She kind of, went off and, started partying and things like that. But it's, just she was having a hard time dealing with the death. He was having a hard time dealing with it. But it's just like, this is such a common issue. How do you deal with that? I mean, is she, are you wrong for just giving up? Or how do you deal with the death of a baby? It's hard.
Yeah.
Some people turn to drugs. I've heard of that, where people lose their baby in daycare. They go to drugs and things like that. I know someone who that happened to, and it's just, how do you cope with dealing with something so tragic? It's dealing with a baby, the death of a baby. But that's actually good information for people to know, because I really did not know that you could not leave them in the car seat. And I'm sure a lot of other people need to know that too.
Yeah.
So the next tip, or the next issue, is what to feed them, especially in the picky stages. So basically, feeding them vegetables versus feeding them stuff that tastes a little bit better. I mean, what do you think you should feed a child early on in life?
I definitely would say try to go the healthy route first.
Yeah.
I mean, kids, I don't believe that. I don't really agree with some parents that are like, my child cannot have any sugar at all, because then whenever it does come time where they have sugar, they're like on this sugar rush high, and they don't know how to deal with it because they've never had sugar before. I think in small amounts, obviously, and monitoring, like, but definitely try to go like the healthy route first and see how far you can get.
Yeah.
I know my mom with the little one, she's always like fed her cauliflower, like carrots, and the way like she started it off was not, she gave it to her like raw, and then she would pour like a little bit of garlic powder on it just to give it a little bit of extra taste, and she would be like, "Ooh, this is really good."
Yeah, and you know what? They don't know that the good stuff's out there unless you give it to them. But then there's the issue when they go to grandma's house and they have muffins and cupcakes and all that stuff, and then they figure it out anyways, fries. I would like, ideally, to feed my child healthy stuff and not expose them to the bad stuff. Ideally, but realistically, it's very hard. It's very, very hard when you've got a lot of family involved and things like that, because eventually someone's gonna give the baby a donut.
Yeah. Or ice cream, or actually the other day, my boyfriend and I, we saw an ice cream truck for like the first time in a while. So we ran outside, we got one of those ice cream, those like cartoon shaped ice creams. And they were so good, but I told him, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so sugary. How did I eat this as a child? Like, especially at like Easter parties, I would see the ice cream truck like at the park. So I would eat the ice cream, I would have cupcakes, I would have the candy that's in the Easter egg. So all of that, like, how did I do that as a kid?
Yeah,
it's so much sugar.
It's crazy. Yeah, I go back thinking about the stuff I used to eat as a child in high school, in middle school, and I'm like, dang, like how did I like eat all this stuff and never like
And now it gives me
yeah.
like a stomach ache, and I'm like, oh, I feel so bad.
Your metabolism like slows down so much. I mean, I could eat, a slice of cake, 2 slices of pizza, as a kid, and never gain weight. And then it's like as an adult, it's like, okay, I just smell some barbecue and I've gained 4 pounds. That's crazy, the metabolism you have when you're young. So the next topic is what to do when the kids are really sick. So what do you do? Do you think that you should take them? What do you think? Okay, because some people, they want to use natural medicines, and some people want to give their kids like real medicine. What's your stand?
Okay, so as a Hispanic woman, I grew up kind of like having natural remedies, like well, I guess not like supernatural, but we would always use Vicks for everything.
Oh gosh. Vicks is like for one thing specifically. Like,
but we use it for everything. 7-Up was always a go-to.
That is okay. Please, I don't care what she says. Do not use 7-Up to try to cure your child's illness. Okay, continue.
I mean, okay, with fevers and stomach aches, 7-Up helps. I mean, obviously, I would take medicine on top of all of that, like home remedies, but 7-Up and Vicks, it does something. I don't know how. I don't know why.
You breathe, a little bit. You got like some congestion. That's all it's for. I'm telling you, that is all it's for.
And my grandma would put it on my chest, my back, my feet, on my nose, everywhere.
It does really open up your airways. Yeah. And it feels great. I mean, I miss that stuff. I'm gonna put some on right after the show, just to do it.
Yeah. But for me, I know I'm gonna listen to the doctor. Obviously, I'm not gonna just always take what the doctor says at face value. If I feel like I'm questioning the doctor, I'll go to another one and get different opinions. But I strongly believe in in doctors, nurses, and medical, in the medical field. I mean, they do so much research. They go to school for years to learn how to take care of the human body, and they take an oath. So I don't like the anti-vaxxers out there that are like, big pharma is out to get you, and like, no, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that government is putting chips in your brain every time?
No, I do not.
Okay. Let's see.
My children will be vaccinated.
But you know what? That's a big belief in millennials, that the government's trying to put chips in us. If you get your child vaccinated, or if you get your child vaccinated, you're going to have deformed children, or they're going to have autism or something like that.
And that's my thing with anti-vaxxers. Like, their biggest thing is, if you get your child vaccinated, they're going to come out with autism. First of all, even if that is the case, why is your child being autistic such a bad thing? Because autistic children, if you do research on them, they're actually really smart. They just socially can't socially, they just don't know how to they're not wired right. And that's fine. Like, you don't always have to be an extrovert person to be a decent person.
My uncle, he's autistic, so shout out to Victor. But he can do a lot of stuff, and he can hear what you're saying. Like, he can, you tell him, hey, Victor, can you go get me a drink or something? He can go do that. Or, hey, Victor, can you change shirts? He can go do that, whatever. He just can't talk. But, they're still very important, still very loved, I love my uncle, but it's one of those things that I don't think that you should try to use autism as an excuse.
Yeah, I don't like that as the big, I guess, argument for your case. I don't like that.
Yeah, because the chances, okay, let's say that it does give autism. Let's just say the chances are probably so small, whereas really anything you do, there's a small chance of something happening. And to be honest, like, you if you don't really know that much about the vaccine and you're just getting it off the internet, like, please fact check. Don't just assume that everything you see on the internet is true. Please vaccinate your children. If you love them, vaccinate them.
Yeah.
And then the next thing, the next parenting trouble is teaching your kids to listen. I don't know if that's possible. Is it possible?
I don't know. Do you listen to your parents?
I'm just kidding. Once I put that belt on you about 2-3 times, I think you can start listening.
And
pretty well.
and it goes back to like if you should spank your child or not. I mean, do you want your child to pay attention to what you have to say, to respect you as a parent? It really just comes down to it. I know. I mean, there's some parents that don't spank their children, and I mean, their children are not the most disciplined or well behaved.
I have to do a hate shout out. So this is the opposite of a shout out. This is where you kind of hate something or you dislike it very strongly. I'll say I dislike it very strongly. The Montessori method. Don't buy that book. Don't go by that method. Don't even put your child in a Montessori daycare. You know, I don't even care. Because I actually babysat for people that they went by the Montessori method. A lot of people don't know what that is, but it is the method no spanking. It is where you give your child the decision on everything. And a lot of like upper class families are doing this.
Yeah.
You basically give your child the decision on what they want to do.
Yeah.
It's not about what you want to do. It's what they want to do. So they get no choice. I'm sorry, but the children.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean this is where I guess what I have to say about that. So I, as a millennial, I guess, like, I do believe in, there are certain things as a parent that like for your child you should listen to. You should listen to their concerns, their you know, anything that they have to say, and you know, you respect them because you want them to respect you. And also I also believe that there is ways of consent within a parent and a child. I remember I read some article a year ago that said you got to ask your baby for consent to change their diaper. That is a little extreme. That's too extreme, but I mean, I think like
what about the first day, like when the baby comes out, it's like
they're like, well, they say like there's ways to read your infant on, like, for them to like give consent on that. I don't know. Some people are just a little too crazy.
Do you want to live in your poop? Shake yes.
Blink twice.
Yeah.
If it's a yes.
Yeah. Would you like to be stinky for 3 more hours? Shake your head. I mean, consent. Gosh, like, how is a baby gonna give consent? Wow, these people are
There's
just crazy.
as a parent, your sole duty is to want your child to like be better and do right for them, because most of the time you know better. As your child gets older and they're able to speak for themselves, that's where that consent comes in. That's where the respect comes in. But when they're under 10, no, like there are boundaries that are set for your child and as a parent, and you don't break those rules.
Okay, so what? So you said 10?
I would say 10. I mean, because like once they hit the double digits, like they're in the preteen age, they're starting to kind of grow a little bit, know more about who they are, what they like, what they dislike. They're starting to mature, and most of the time, especially for women, like that's around the age you'll start your menstrual cycle too. So
really, at 10?
Some girls, yeah. I mean, I knew somebody, one of my old friends from middle school, she said that she started when she was 9. So
oh my gosh, that's not even a childhood. It's like you haven't even turned double digits and you're like having to wear pads. I don't know. Ugh. Okay, so the last topic is, well, the last dilemma for parents is teaching your children to share. I feel like this is a lot harder with only children. What do you think?
Teaching your child to share. I don't know. I think maybe this day and age it's a little bit harder, just because children now use a lot of technology, and so I feel like they all have their own tablets, they all have their own cell phones. So it's harder for them to like understand like sharing because everything is done online. All of their interactions are done online.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed in my youngest sister, she doesn't like sharing her toys sometimes. And I'm always like, well, you know, your little cousins are here like to play, like they're your guests, like you have to learn how to share, because if you go to their house next week, you want to use their stuff too. So I don't know. I think it is sometimes a little difficult to get them to understand the concept of sharing.
Yeah, that's so true. I understand that, because I mean, if you are, you know, used to electronics that you don't have to share, I mean, honestly, kids don't even play with toys, so I don't even know where they would get the opportunity. Like you said, it's all online stuff. It's all iPad. It's all digital. And if not, they're watching TV, or honestly, they're all watching these YouTubers. They're not even playing games. They're watching
YouTubers play with toys.
Yes, they're not playing. I mean, what reality do we live in? I feel like we're in Black Mirror or something, where kids are watching other kids play with toys instead of actually playing with toys, or kids are watching other kids play video games. They're not even playing video games. Our generation thought we were bad. Our parents thought we were bad because we were playing with video games. At least we weren't watching people play with video games,
you know? Or play with toys. Yeah. I mean, what was I gonna say? Like, for me, I've noticed, like, especially my older cousins that have kids, they always got their kids electronics at a very young age, and I don't agree with that. I think if they're under the age of like 7 or 8, they shouldn't have their own tablet. They shouldn't have their own cell phone. There's no like what's the reason? And even if you do go that route, there needs to be like electronic time, like screen time, and like there's no extension for that. This is a set time where you can be on your tablet and you do everything that you want on there, and then like that's it. The rest of the time you're either playing with your toys or you're outside. Like to like really start to I think people should start instilling that into their children, because it's so easy to just let your kid be on a tablet or phone all day because they're distracted and they're not bothering you.
Yeah, I think it really does cause mental disabilities too if you let them be on a tablet too early on. And it's so funny how people are worried about getting their kids vaccinated might give them a mental disability. Well, giving them a tablet at 2 years old, and not even, you know, they're on the tablet like 5, 6, 7 hours a day from like the age of 2 to just really their whole life. It's going to give them some kind of, you know, mental disability.
And I've noticed that in kids, like they're not as social anymore, and it's crazy to me because I remember, I mean, I was a little shy always at first, like going to parties or like playing at McDonald's or something like that. I was always a little like timid about it, but once I was like I was able to introduce myself, like, all right, game time, like are we playing tag, or are we playing hide and seek, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, it used to be like just rare you'd see a kid that had like social disabilities or things like that, which is considered like Asperger's usually if it's severe. You know, where they're kind of, they don't know how to interact with people, talk to people, whatever. But now it's like almost, I mean, a lot of kids have that now because of just talking to their iPad all day. And not even talking, just playing games. I mean, I don't know. If the world was Tetris, maybe they would be doing great. I don't know. But anyways, we're going to be right back with some more baby topics, and we will see you in just a bit on the Matchmaker Hotline.
people stop talking to each other. Society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
Between the ages of 0 and 5, a child's mind is very impressionable. Researchers call it the theta brainwave. This low frequency is the state of consciousness between the conscious and subconscious worlds. In this state, the mind is capable of deep and profound learning, healing, and growth. There is a subconscious loop that's created during these early years. Who you believe you are has been downloaded based on experiences that you have had. A bad experience could create fears and limitations. Do you love who you are? Do you believe in yourself? The reality is that you can't control your childhood. All you can do is interpret it. You can choose to see your good and your value. Try this experiment. Project forward. See yourself at 80 years old. Now you have lived a lifetime. What advice would you have for your younger self? What risks would you have taken? What relationships would you have avoided? Did you celebrate life? Did you allow yourself to feel, to be present? Your 80-year-old self would tell you to not live in fear, to have faith that things will work out, that all you have to do is persist until you succeed. Your 80-year-old self would tell you to stay healthy, to take care of your body. And it would ultimately tell you to share your gifts with the world.
Matchmaker Hotline. I'm your host, Brianna Craig, and we're here with Mariah and Nina, and we are talking about some more controversial baby topics. These are things that not everyone agrees on. Actually, everyone's got an opinion, but hey, it's your child. You make the decision ultimately. Your grandma, your sister, your mom, and maybe just random people that you used to work with might hate you on Facebook, but hey, just do what you gotta do, because that, I mean, honestly, once you have a kid, everybody has input.
An opinion.
Yes.
They all have an opinion. They all think this way's better, this way's better. Who knows? I mean,
spank your kid, don't spank your kid, vaccinate them, don't vaccinate them. Oh, put them in timeout, don't do timeout. I mean, honestly, how do you feel about timeout? What do you think? Is that effective?
I think timeout is super effective. Working at a child care center, I think it really helped me. Like I feel like I've always been really good with kids. I've helped my mom raise my little sister. I used to take care of my little baby cousins all the time. But working at a child care center, it really helped, like, kind of open my eyes. Like, there's so many different avenues to take, like, trying to, especially like disciplining children. I remember there was one little boy. I think every time he go out, I love him, but he gave me such a hard time. But I would always put him in timeout, And they were like 2, 3. So whenever I put them in timeout, it's always by how old they are. So if they're 2, you put them in timeout for 2 minutes. If they're 3, 4, 5, 3 to 5 minutes. And with timeout, I don't just like put them in a corner and let them sit there. I actually would kind of redirect them. And, but here's a puzzle, or here's a book. Look at the book for the next 2 minutes, and it really kind of just takes them away from being upset that they're put in timeout, and kind of like distracts them, and it kind of helps like get their mind like running as well. And then after the 2 to 3, however old they are, those minutes are up, you sit with them and you kind of explain to them, okay, this is the reason why you're in timeout. If I see you do it again, you're gonna have to come back here and sit away from your friends. And I think that really kind of helps them understand the purpose of what a timeout is and why they're being disciplined.
Yeah, and in daycare, that's really all you can do. That's all they really give you the freedom to do. You can't spank them. I wonder when the last year was that you could spank them. I wonder what year that was. I'm really actually curious now. I might look that up later. Like, what it's, I'm gonna type that in. It's gonna be like 1983 was the last time a daycare worker could spank the child. But you know what? I mean, I wouldn't want. Even me, I'm very pro spanking, and I can say I probably wouldn't want anyone spanking my child. It's not even like related to me. I mean, that's far, to have a daycare worker do it. But my husband told me that they used to spank him in school. Like,
I remember my uncles and aunts would tell me like they would, because we all went. I actually went to the same schools that they went to when they were my age. So they would tell me like, oh yeah, I remember when I was going to school. I would always get in trouble, so the principal would hit us, or even like the own teachers would be like the whole class is in trouble. Y'all better line up, and everybody's getting a hit. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And like, crazy. And my one time my uncle said like that happened, and he said that nobody wanted to be first, so he ended up being the first one in the line, and the teacher told him like, you're actually smart because as the line goes down, I hit harder. He was like, you get the least one that hurts. And he was like, oh, okay, well, now I know that for next time.
Dang, the whole class. I feel like there was at least one person who didn't deserve that in that class. I don't know. I hope when I'm a kid, I hope when I'm a parent that I don't punish all my children for what one kid does. But I know how it is. When you're in a bad mood, you're in a bad mood. You want everybody to feel your pain. So, I mean, it's hard not to do that. But a lot of times, when your siblings get punished, you get punished. So it's hard because, like, especially if, like, let's say you were about to go get some ice cream and one of your siblings is acting a whole butthole. Y'all are not about to go get ice cream. Yeah. And so it hurts everybody. So it's like you don't want them bad apples to spoil the bunch.
Actually, so since I am the oldest, I kind of used to revel in like watching my little sister. She's 18 now. She's gonna be 19. So we're like 6 years apart, and I used to like revel in like watching her get in trouble. And now that I'm older, I get like kind of sad when I see my youngest sister get in trouble and like get spanked and stuff. And I'm like, oh, mama, you didn't have to do all that. I think you're being a little extreme. And she's like, don't tell me how to parent. I'm like, okay, never mind.
But you know what? You're going to be glad when she's older and she's, well behaved and she doesn't really need it anymore. And that's the thing. I mean, it sucks to spank your kids. But if you do it early on, you really won't have to do it very much. I mean, my mom, I think she started when I was 2, and I mean, like past 2, she really never had to spank me at all because I mean, she just went hardcore for like a year, and then boom, I was fixed. Decided to be good all of a sudden.
See, that was my next question. When was the last time like you were spanked?
Probably like 2. My mom said she just like spanked me pretty good for like a year, and then she was like, yeah, after that you were really good.
Well, you're lucky.
Yeah, but she said that before that I was pretty bad. She said I was a terrible
I think the last time I was spanked was think I was like 14, 15,
Mhm.
and like my mom hit me hard.
Dang, 14, 15?
Yes, and it was like, and okay, and this is why I say like I don't think that spanking should be like any way like demeaning or humiliating, because I felt like my mom like humiliated me by doing like the way that she did it. Like she was like take your pants off and bend over and I'm gonna hit you so hard with this belt. And I'm like that,
In
like
front
that
of people?
no, like in private, but still like that's kind of like still a little
That's how I got it too,
demeaning.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, except mine was with a hairbrush.
Oh no, my mom thankfully always did it with a belt. Like
Yeah.
no,
it was
nothing
only-
nothing else ever.
Oh, okay. I think that was the last time I was spanked. So that was it. That I think I was like 6, 7 or something, or maybe 5. I don't know, somewhere around there. And my stepdad, he spanked me with a hairbrush.
Ooh.
You know, like on my raw behind. So it was like after he got done, I had all these little like dots on my butt with
Aw.
like the hairbrush marks. And my grandma,
Not even the soft side, like the
no, the like hard part. And like afterward, my great grandma, because we lived with her, she was like, I'm gonna call the cops, like this is abuse, da 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 da. And I think that was the last time I got spanked. Which, I mean, I think he had just never spanked me before, probably, or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was his stepdaughter, so it was like, you know, I think maybe he just didn't know, like, how hard to spank me or how to hold back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's just different with a guy, because guys they're stronger, so a lot of times they don't realize how strong they really are.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
grew up with my mom, so I can't really remember because my parents divorced when I think I was like about 8.
Mhm.
So I can't really remember my dad ever like hitting me, like disciplining me like in that way. I remember like the last time he like really yelled at me, but I can't remember like a time like he spanked me. But my mom, since I was mainly raised with her, my mom would only ever spank me like with a chancla or the belt, and like nothing, no hangers, no wires, no, nothing like that. So I mean, I think though, like soft side surfaces is the way to go. If you do anything else, then that's just abuse.
I mean, I know, like, for one time, I was so shocked. I think I was about 10 years old, and my brother, he was 9. And I was really shocked that my brother, because my dad, like, he is the coolest, chillest, like, funniest guy. Like, he's always making you laugh. He's never serious. Like, he's just a smooth, like, ladies' man. That's his personality. So I've never seen him, like, get mad or anything. But one time he spanked my brother. I was like, dang! Like, I ain't never got spanked, you know? Like, he spanked, he got him. He got him pretty good. I mean, I think dads are just harder on their sons. You know? I feel like that, like, if a guy has his dad in his life, he's definitely probably been spanked. You know? But, you know, I mean, it's good. If you have your dad in your life, you know, you're very fortunate, because a lot of people don't. But so our next topic is co-parenting. A lot of millennials, like you said before when we were off air, a lot of millennials and really just people in general, they're doing co-parenting now instead of raising the kids together. So what do you think are some, you know, big issues with that?
I think the biggest issue that could come from co-parenting is whenever one of the parents starts seriously dating somebody else, and that can like cause, I guess, some tension between the other parent, because maybe they feel like, oh well, maybe I'm gonna be replaced. Maybe what if this person starts putting their hands on my child, or just things like that. I've noticed, especially like in women, whenever the baby daddy starts dating someone else, they're like, that girl better not be holding my baby, or things like that. And
I can't blame them though. I mean, I can't speak to I really can't speak for myself yet. Like, I don't know how I would react if I was ever put in that situation, but I would like to think that, especially like if the woman came to me as a woman, was like, look, like I'm dating the baby daddy, like I'm not in any way gonna like
put any hands on your child, or I'm not gonna like sit here and discipline your child. Like it's nothing but respect for you. I think like that's totally fine.
But what if she wants to like step into that stepmom role? What if she's not like you know what I mean? Because there's like stepmoms, and then there's stepmoms that kind of act like moms.
Yeah, I don't know. I it just really comes down to respect. Do you respect me? Do you respect him as a dad? And do you respect my child?
But would you be okay with someone like, let's say, you know, I'm the new chick and I've been dating the guy for a month, and it's your baby, and I'm holding the baby and I'm taking pictures and you see it on the internet.
Well, first of all, I'm getting mad at the baby daddy if he's even putting somebody else around my child that early into their relationship.
Okay, so what's
I think there does need to be like a strict rule for both the parents and being like, okay, if we're gonna start seriously dating somebody, it looks like things are getting serious. I don't think at least maybe for 4 to 6 months. I think it's fair.
I mean, I think like on paper that sounds great.
Yeah.
But realistically, if we're in a really good, like healthy, close relationship, and I am spending a lot of time with my kid, it's gonna be hard to keep, you know what I mean, to keep that separated. Because if you're spending a lot of time with your partner, you're spending a lot of time with your kid, like waiting 4 months or 6 months to, you know, have them meet, you're gonna have to really go through a lot of hoops to kind of keep the baby mama happy about them not meeting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to also.
But I mean, I think like as a woman, most women wait that long though. So for a guy, I think there should be that same level of respect, because I think my mom was dating my stepdad like for a few months before she finally introduced us to him. And even like before that, like he wasn't picking her up at the house, because when my parents split, like we were living with my grandma for a while, so he wouldn't pick her up from the house. She would always meet him somewhere, and like, you know, she would leave the car somewhere, like in a parking lot. They would drive somewhere, whatever. And I mean, I can't really remember her like actually. And I guess it was a little different. It was like early 2000s, so I mean, cell phone use wasn't as big, but I can't really remember a time like just always seeing her like talk, like knowingly that she was talking to somebody. It wasn't until we were like, she was like, okay, we're gonna go like Chuck E. Cheese or something, and then he was there, and I was like, oh, like, is this your friend? And she was like, yeah, and I was like, okay, and then that's like I kind of understood what was going on.
I mean, what do you think about people that like they get really possessive, like when their brother? I don't know why this started dating like with brothers, like, or sisters, when they get really like mad when their friend wants to date like their brother or sister, or you know what I mean, like that kind of sibling jealousy, like, oh, you can't date my brother, or oh, you can't date my sister. What do you think about that? I was just thinking about that, because some people
I don't know. I mean, I think I don't have a brother, so I don't really know. As an older sister, and my sister is slowly starting to like dip her toes into the dating world. I notice I am a little protective, because I've had a lot of experience like in relationships, and so I know how it is, and she hasn't even had her first kiss yet, so you know, I'm like, she's 18, so she'll be 19 this year. This month. And so yeah, and I mean, she doesn't feel like that's a bad thing. She's like, you know, she wasn't ready. Now that she's in college, she's like, I get to, you know, there's a vast world out there for me to see, and I'm like, okay, good for you, girl. But I'm just like dreading the day like she gets serious with somebody and then it doesn't work out, you know, because I know what that heartbreak feels like, especially that first one. It just hurts so bad, and I'm like, ugh, you know.
I mean, I think you get really protective if you have like a really innocent brother or sister. I know my brother was not like that. Oh my gosh. Dude, he literally, I mean, he was young. I want to say he was like 15 or 16, and he had this girlfriend for like a month, And he was like, yeah, I'm kind of over her. She's kind of fat.
Oh my gosh.
He was already on to another girl. And, you know, I mean, I guess it's just different with brothers versus sisters.
Yeah.
But my next topic, I don't know why I got off to, you know, siblings, but I was just thinking about people, you know,
that are protective,
protective
like over
people.
Yeah.
But what do you think about kids calling their parents by their first name? Hey, John. Hey, Stacey.
I've never seen that in a like in a minority home where that's happened. Because you will not that will not slide at all.
What would happen? What would happen?
Like, you would get smacked up the side of your head is what would happen.
Oh man.
They'd be like, don't you dare call me by my first name. I am your mom or I am your dad. Like,
yeah. I mean, some people are letting their kids call them by their first
I
name.
mean, I'm 24 years old and I still call my mom. I'll be like, Mommy, can you get what's for dinner?
My mommy is so mad if I call her mom in public. She's like, Brianna, what are you, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people think she's like my older sister or something. So it's like she gets real mad if something.
Yeah, the same thing with my mom. Like, every time, I think it was like last year, my stepdad, like, I guess he like re-proposed, so he like got her like a new ring. And so I posted a picture of her with her ring like this, like, and she's just like, you know, whatever. And everybody was messaging me like, oh my gosh, did you get engaged? And I'm like, that's not me, that's my mom. They're like, oh my god, she looks so young. I'm like, yeah, whenever we go out, she always wants me to say that she's my older sister.
Do y'all really look that much alike?
I've never really seen it because I grew up where people always told me I look like my dad. But seeing, like, I saw a picture of me, my mom, and my sister recently, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, we do all look alike.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of scary, actually.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, no one ever tells me that I look like my mom. Like, we literally, you know, because my mom was a single mom, so it's like we were always together. Nobody would ever say that we look alike. I think that's also like, you know, I'm mixed and she's white, so they would be like, I don't know. They'd probably just be thinking in their head something. But I don't know. I think I would really like to have a child that kind of resembles me, just because I had a mom that, you know, no one, I think they knew we were related, but they would never be like, oh my gosh, y'all look so much alike. Rather, while as when I'm with my dad, they're like, oh, y'all are twins. And I'm like, okay. Like, I totally want to be called twins to a grown man that's like 6'5". Like, yes, that is what I want. That is the compliment I want to hear. You look like Howard Johnson. Like, I mean, to some point, it is a, you know, compliment. My dad's a handsome man, but at the same time, it's like, so, you know, you're thinking of yourself.
You're thinking like, okay, if I don't have this long hair, if I have like a little bit of like a 5 o'clock shadow, like I'm a man. Pretty much.
And then sometimes you're like looking at yourself in the mirror, you're like, oh, I do see Kobe Bryant. I'm just kidding. But
have you used those Snapchat filters that like turn you into like a man? Oh my gosh, I really look like my dad. Then I'm like, oh no, okay.
Weirdly enough, I don't look like my dad. It just makes me look like Middle Eastern because it gives me like this dark black beard. And like I'm like about to, you know, go find, what's that princess, Jasmine.
Oh yeah.
Like I look like Aladdin. It's funny. But we are going to be right back on the Matchmaker Hotline. We're going to talk about some more baby topics, breastfeeding, and some popular but weird names for 2020 babies. And we'll be right back.
We've been out of control since we got hit back in March 2020. Mortality rates keep climbing. Infection rates go up and down and then back up again. How long will this go on? No clear answer. Will a vaccine even be effective as this virus continues to spread and to mutate? No clear answers there either. I'm a trained nutritionist, herbologist, personal trainer, behavior modification, and stress sciences expert. I'm also a COVID-19 and pneumonia survivor. I've watched the continuous wall-to-wall news coverage, and while yes, wearing a mask and social distancing are crucial now, you're not being given important tools that you need in order to fortify your first line of defense, your best line of defense, which is your own immune system. What's going on here? There are simple, affordable, and natural ways to help build your immune system to fight any virus or bacteria now, and it starts inside of you. That's why I need to invite you to join me for Beyond the Mask, an intimate talk about vital ways to immediately begin boosting your immune system. Are you worried about the potentials of a second wave? Are you concerned now that your immune system may not be strong enough? Let me show you now the changes that will allow you to optimize it. Let me show you how to maximize your exercise benefits in a 12-minute routine that you'll do every other day to easily increase your metabolism, strengthen your respiratory and immune systems, and give you better circulation throughout your body. Listen, sugar feeds both bacteria and viruses. Let me show you ways to kick that sugar addiction now and to get some weight off. Let me share with you keys to better nutrition that boosts your immune system. We are all under too much stress, and stress weakens your immune system. It single-handedly leaves you vulnerable to all kinds of health issues and infections because stress reduces your immune cell numbers and their ability to function. Let me show you tools that you'll easily integrate into your daily life now to naturally reduce your stress cortisol response. I also want you to know about some nutritional supplements that have been shown to naturally improve your immune system and your overall health. Since January, there have been over 700 studies released worldwide on the relationship between COVID-19 and vitamin D3 deficiency. You need to know why. You want to improve your own immune defenses now? Want to take back your control? Sign up today for Beyond the Mask and join me as I give you information and tools to easily get you back on track towards a healthier overall immune system now.
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
What are we going to talk about? We're talking about 21 unusual celebrity baby names. We're going through an article called 21 Unusual Celebrity Baby Names from Famous Parents Who Were Out of the Box Thinkers by Marissa Lascala and Christine Copa. So, I think we have to address the big one first, which is Elon Musk's baby.
Gosh.
I am going to try to say this, guys, but I'm going to literally say it how it's written. So it is, his baby's name is XAEA-12.
Isn't there like an actual pronunciation of the name? I can't remember what it was.
I don't think that they even agree on the pronunciation. He said that it is pronounced Ash.
Ash?
That's what he said. Now, with her, it's not clear how she pronounces it. But basically, they said X is for X. The A is for like Archangel, which is one of their favorite songs or bands, and the AE is for. Okay, hold on. So X, hold on, this is a lot. X is the unknown variable. AE is my elven spelling of AI. Love in artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And A-12 is the precursor to SR-12, which is their favorite aircraft.
Yeah.
A also equals Archangel, which is their favorite song. Okay, actually, it's her favorite song. Okay, and then, so it's not legal to put numbers in your birth certificate, so it's getting rejected by the state of California.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact that they didn't kind of think of that beforehand, like, dude, you're so rich, and you didn't even know that you can't put numbers in your baby's name. Like, don't you think people would have done that before? Like, you didn't do any research for this name. I mean,
I just feel like, okay, they were doing too much. They were really trying so hard to be different, and I mean, I think the baby's name trended for a while on Twitter, and I remember all the memes that were coming out when this name dropped. Oh my god, I was laughing so hard, but
yeah, but it's pronounced Ash. That's what's so funny.
Yeah, it's too much. They're trying too hard.
Yeah, they're gonna have to change the baby's name. Eventually, and I didn't know this, but he actually has twins and he has triplets by his previous marriage.
Yeah,
so that's crazy to have, two sets of multiples, and this one was like, okay, so we went 3, we went 2, and we went 1, so we're just going crazy. And then, okay, the next celebrity baby name that's a little different, and I'm honestly not that mad at this one because it's a celebrity baby, but Amber Rose and Def Jam Records executive Alexander A.E. Edwards welcomed a baby slash, I'm not saying slash, this is his name, slash Electric Alexander Edwards.
Slash Electric. So
he is possibly named after the Guns N' Roses guitarist.
That's what I was gonna ask,
but they haven't confirmed that. So it might just be, coincidence. But Amber Rose, she did say that Slash is the greatest guitar player / musician of all time. So I'm assuming that they named it that. I'm really not that mad at that one.
That one's cute. I kind of like that. It's not too crazy. It's kind of like a, what's the word? I guess homage to, maybe like their favorite guitarist. So it's not horrible. It's not as bad as the Elon Musk's child's name.
I mean, I feel like Slash, like, they're gonna be a rock star, or they're gonna be like famous, which obviously they're.
Well, they're definitely gonna have like that following already, like just from who their parents are. But yeah.
Okay. So I don't think this one is actually on here, but let's go ahead and address the name Northwest. I'm sorry, but I love it. I think that's so cute.
I actually love it when it first came out. I think at first I was like, okay, so they named their baby after a direction, but after a while, it's really grown on me, and I like it.
Okay,
and I think North is so cute. She's like one of my favorites out of Kim's.
Have you seen Chicago though? She's really cute too. The Chicago one. Now Chicago,
Chicago.
the Chicago one. Okay, the baby named Chicago. But Chicago, what do you think about that name? That's another city.
I don't really like that name, but
it's okay.
It's okay.
You know,
it's
okay.
not again. It's not horrible, but I like North. I like Saint. Saint is cute.
Saint. I'm okay. I don't know how I feel about Saint. I gotta be honest. I don't know how I feel about Saint. I mean, it's a name, you know. And then what's the other one? I feel like Psalm.
I don't like Psalm.
I mean, not really
again, that was not horrible.
Yeah.
That was not horrible, but I feel like they could have did a little bit better.
I mean, they just did so good with the North one. It's hard to follow that up. I never even knew this. Okay, so for sports fans, Derek Jeter and his wife Hannah Davis Jeter. Now, notice how they both have pretty normal generic names. Named their kid, now that they're famous, gave their kid the name Story.
Story? Like a story?
They named their kid Story.
Okay, I don't know about that one.
I think he was taking too much pre-workout when he thought of that name. He must have been.
Again, that one's like they're trying a little too hard.
Yeah, really. I mean, Story. I don't know. Oof. Oh, speaking of Story, Stormy.
I like Stormy. Stormy's cute.
Kylie Jenner's baby is Stormy. For those that don't know, though probably most of the world knows, but I love Stormy. That's actually super cute. And I didn't realize how popular that name was. Like, the first time I ever heard of it was really mainly
with Kylie.
Yeah. Was that for you, the first time you heard of it?
Yeah, that was the first time I heard it.
But it's actually really popular, like, out in, like, Lufkin. And my husband's from Lufkin. And you know, he has, like, 5 people that he knows named Stormy.
Oh,
you know
really?
what I mean? Like, out there, it's actually pretty common in the country. It's like I guess it's like a country more so name. I mean, not really, but you know, it's popular there. And then next one is actress Jess Wexler, star of Good Wife and It Chapter 2, named her kid Beatrice Danger.
That's not horrible.
So Danger is literally her daughter's middle name. I feel like she named her that just to say that.
Yeah.
I just.
That'd be funny for daughters, like, not really courageous or like.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just I feel like she's just
thrill seeking. Like, she's just gonna be like, yeah, I don't really do anything crazy.
That's funny though. I mean, I get why she said. I get why she did that. I mean, I don't know how the kid's gonna feel about it because I mean, it's
not that horrible, and at least it's a middle name, so like you don't have to really. Yeah. You don't use it.
I'm glad that the saying's not Danger is my first name. She would be screwed. Okay, and then so look, so Jason Aldean, he named his kid. Let's see, Navy Rome.
Navy what?
Navy Rome.
Navy Rome?
Mm-hmm. So her first name is Navy.
And her middle name's Rome?
Rome.
Navy Rome.
I feel like that's another one that's kind of just like,
It's like, meh. It's, they tried on that one.
It's not, I don't think
it's not too crazy, but
yeah.
It's also not wow.
I don't think anyone's gonna like make fun of them, but I don't think anyone's gonna be like, oh, that name's
Navy
so cute.
is kind of cute though. Like for a first name, I could kind of see that kind of being a little bit of a trend.
Well, I think that the names that end with Y or an I for girls are popular no matter what.
Yeah.
So even if you named it Grady, you know,
Gravy.
You know what I mean? Just anything that ends in E, like people just kind of okay, it's a girl's name. Now, okay, Hillary Duff named her child Banks.
That one's not bad. I think
Banks.
Yeah, it's not bad.
She named her child Banks.
Wait, is it a boy or a girl?
It is a boy.
It's a boy. Banks.
Banks.
Yeah, that's not bad. It could have been worse, but it's not bad.
And okay, and also remember she was in the movie Agent Cody Banks. So
I
don't
forgot
write
about that.
It's Cody's baby. No, I'm kidding. But I don't know. I don't really want my baby's name associated with.
It sounds like I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with people that are named like their first names are last names.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that kind of sounds like.
Yeah,
It's like
I'm not really into that either. And Banks barely even sounds like a last name. It sounds like somewhere where I put my deposit. Doesn't sound like a name at all. But yeah, Banks. Like, hey, Hillary Duff's my mom, but she gave me a really bad name, so I love her and hate her. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure if you grow up with a certain name, you might love it. Okay, now this is kind of different. Okay, the next one, it is the model Stormy Bree and another model Lucky Blue Smith.
okay, so they already have some kind of interesting names.
Stormy Bree and Lucky Blue Smith. I've never heard of these people.
What's their
what
baby
did
name?
they name their kid? They named him Gravity.
Gravity.
The daughter named Gravity.
Well, you just said the Y and the I ending is a girl. It always
But
could be a
people
girl name.
People are taking this a little too literally. Like, just because it has a Y or an I at the end doesn't mean you have to name your kid that. Like, Gravity. Like, okay, this is another thing. Like, Navy, Gravity, Banks. None of these things even remotely sound like names. These are like objects.
They're just things.
Or places. Like, I'm going to pick up this microphone. Like, okay, I'm going to name my baby Microphone. You know, like, you know what?
Well, I didn't really like Beyonce's when she named her daughter Blue.
I don't really think a lot of people did. They were like Blue. I mean,
but I guess you never really just say Blue. You say Blue Ivy, right?
Yeah.
That's her. Yeah. So
I mean, yeah, no one really liked that one. I think a lot of people liked, Northwest and more. And yeah, Blue Ivy was like, I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't like,
yeah.
Oh, I love that name. Like, colors. Colors. Okay, I'm gonna name my baby Pink.
Wait, who is it? I think Gwyneth Paltrow. Doesn't she have
Apple?
Apple.
Yeah.
But that's actually not the first time I've heard that. When my sister was in pre-kinder, one of her classmates was named Apple. So it's, I guess, kind of common. Not super common, but kind of. Like, it's not the first ever person named Apple.
Why name them after like a fruit that everyone hates? Oh, I mean, not hates.
You don't like apples? I love apples.
I mean, apples are okay. I think everyone eats apples, but they're not like a favorite. I think like
an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
I think most people like sweeter fruits. That one's like not really a sweet fruit at all. Like watermelon, it tastes way better. Bananas, really anything tastes better than apples. So like it's like, hey, I want to name you after the most boring fruit I can think of. Anyways, we're gonna go on break really quick, and we're gonna be back with more celebrity baby names. You're here on the Matchmaker Hotline, and we'll be right back.
The Natural Nation Network is really about taking control of your health physically, spiritually, emotionally, even intellectually, because there's so much out there in misinformation. There's a lot of people now that are suffering from all sorts of diseases that they really wouldn't have to suffer for if they had better information. And that's what we're here to do. Provide information that can save lives.
The mind and the body are totally connected.
Health can be really serious, and sometimes we just have to lighten it up a little bit while we're still providing substantive information.
And my sort of mantra on the salsa dance floor is kind of similar. I tell somebody, if you make a mistake twice, it becomes a move. Okay,
Tune into Natural Nation every Tuesday at 11 a.m.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? Top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters.
Hi, and we're back from the Matchmaker Hotline. We're talking about weird celebrity names. I just have one more for you that we have to give an honorable mention. So, Moxie Crime Fighter. This is the name of a magician's daughter, magician Pin Juliet. She was born in 2005, and so she has been suffering for 15 years with this name. Yeah. So Moxie is actually, I think it's pretty cute. It's different.
Yeah, that's a cute name.
I know the eyelashes, Moxie eyelashes. I think they're the magnetic ones that I just bought them. I actually somewhat like it. But Crime Fighter is the middle name. I mean, it's literally one word. I mean, they couldn't even give it 2 words. It's when they have to write it down, it's literally Crime Fighter, exactly how I'm saying it. Just one word.
That's interesting.
It's not even grammatically correct because it is 2 words indeed. So that's the last celebrity baby name that we do have. But what we're going to go on to is good baby names. What are some good baby names? Now, we have a producer here. He is named Dakota. I love that name personally. What do you think?
I think it's a cute name.
I think it's great. I think it's great for a boy or a girl. And I think it's, I like places, city names, state names, stuff like that.
Do you like Hannah Montana?
Hannah Montana, we gotta do it. No, I'm just kidding. I will say another name that I like. Well, actually, I don't just like it. I've already picked out my baby's name. Is a city. Paris.
That's cute. There's Paris Hilton.
Now, I'm not pregnant. I'm not planning on having kids soon, but I want to name my daughter Paris when I do have kids. And if it's a boy, I want to name him Austin. Because that's also a very beautiful city, and it's a very trendy name. It's like it sounds like somebody who's cool, relaxed, not high strung.
Yeah.
Which I hope that if my kids are high strung, I'll just have to slap them because they definitely didn't get that from me. What are some cute baby names for you?
So I have a lot of I have at least 3 baby girl names that I would like to use. Haven't decided on one yet, but okay. So one of them is Carson. I like the name Carson for a girl. I kind of got it off of one of the movies I used to watch growing up, which is Shag. I don't know if you know that movie, but one of the girls in the movie, her name is Carson, and I really, really think that's just such a cute name. The other one I like Lane. Like Lois Lane, which is what I like.
For a boy or a girl?
For a girl. These are girl names that I really like. Because I really want a lot of girls. In my family, we have nothing but girls, but I feel like I'm gonna be cursed with boys. I have this feeling, but
it does feel like a curse, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then my third one. This is actually one of my favorites. I like Amelia.
Oh,
I
that's
love
cute.
that name. Yeah, that's really cute.
You should do that first, just in case you only have one daughter. Just put that one at the top. And just
The rest just get the leftovers.
Yeah, but for boys, I really haven't thought too much on it because for a while I I thought I was gonna have because I was married for a little while, and so
really?
yeah,
Okay.
so I thought my ex-husband, he was always like, well, if we have a son, he's gonna be named after me because he was named after his dad. So I was like, I mean, I guess. So I never really thought too much about.
What was his name?
His name was Gerardo.
Girl,
Yeah.
how are you gonna let that happen? What's wrong with you?
Okay, so when he said when he was growing up, he was always just like called Little G. So that's kind of like what.
The fact that people didn't use his name is the first indication of something was wrong. if they don't use your whole name, there's probably something wrong.
But see, now I don't have to worry about that. I can name my son whatever, like my future son whatever I want now. But that was like one of the things I never really thought.
I mean,
too
it sounds
much
like
of.
they're calling him like Little Gangster because they're like Little G. Because I've heard people say that like Little G, like little, little Gangster.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you want to get that in your kid's head because you want them to like grow up. Hey, go to school, do your homework. And I think some people like they definitely dress their kids like just basically in a way like forget about school, just worry about fashion and high dollar clothes and things like that. And it's like you shouldn't just be worried about that kind of stuff. You should really just invest into your child's health, basically how they're raised, having faith. And I'll say Gerardo, I mean, it's not the worst.
It's not
the worst, but it's not the best. You're gonna have to think of some other names now. I'm sorry.
Well,
sorry
that's
about
whoever
that.
he's got to deal with in the future now. That's up to that's them.
Doesn't that suck though when you get with a guy that he's a junior or maybe even later,
like the third or the fourth or something,
third
and
or
they're like,
fourth.
we got to keep this tradition. The firstborn son, like
and the name's never good. That's what's so funny. The name is never good. Like I'm not gonna
okay. So
call
for
out
me,
people,
like,
but, yeah.
so me and my ex, we're on good terms. So, and his his dad was in his life, and so his dad was like really awesome, sweet, very sweet man, and so I never really thought of it as like, ugh, like I gotta name my son after you and your dad. Like, no, it was like they were both really good men. So I mean, Gerardo the third, whoever whoever your mom is gonna be or whatever, like they're in good hands.
Yeah, my dad is he's a third, and then my grandpa was the junior, and then no, sorry. So my dad is a junior, Howard Junior, and then my brother, he's Howard
the third,
Johnson the third.
Yeah.
So we have a bunch of hotel money. No, I'm kidding. From Howard Johnson Hotel. What happened to those hotels? Someone asked me the other day, like, does that hotel even exist anymore?
I don't know.
I'm
I know
not
on
really
my
sure.
mom's side, my grandpa's George Contreras, and then my uncle's George Contreras Jr., and then he had a son but he's got a middle name, so I don't think it counts as a third if he's got a middle name.
Yeah, that's how my brother is.
Because he's
no,
George
different.
Anthony Contreras. So, but we always call him Anthony. We don't call him George.
Why is that? Why can't you even just have your own middle name? Like, that sucks that they take up both the names. Like, dang, I can't. You know what I'm saying? Because like my little brother, he goes by his middle name, Jameson, instead of going by Howard, because his dad is Howard, and I think that's more fair to have it like that rather than like. Okay, you have to be named their same middle name too, so then you have like no uniqueness.
Yeah.
But that's the way it goes, I guess.
Yeah. Too bad there's like you can't really carry that on like with females.
I'm
like,
glad.
You're glad?
Because I mean, it's already a lot for the guys to have to do that. Like that's already a lot.
Well, I mean, I know like in like royalty they do that. A lot of the times.
Women?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, obviously they don't keep the last name, but they're always usually like named after like the grandma or like something like that to like keep like the royal like the royalty aspect of like the name. Like Queen Elizabeth, she's like named after like one of her ancestors.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and you also have to marry your cousin. Keep the bloodline pure. Don't
Gross.
forget your cousin, second cousin, third cousins. Got to keep the bloodline pure in them royal families. Your kids might come out looking a little funny, have mental disabilities, but hey, gotta keep that bloodline pure.
I'm glad that like at least like Prince William and Prince Harry like married outside of like royalty.
Yeah.
Because if you really think about it, a lot of like all the like European monarchies that are living today, they all come from like the same bloodline. Like if you go back far enough, so it's kind of gross when you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I think it's good for your genetics to like not be that close in bloodline because I mean, the kids can't be coming out that cute if you're like, you know what I mean?
Well, remember Prince William used to be the cute one, and now he's looking rough.
Yeah,
he's looking real rough.
I have no comment on that. I'm not trying to get the Queen of England down on my head. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think Meghan and Harry make the cutest couple.
I do too. I love them.
I think they make the cutest couple.
I hate that Meghan has got so much hate out there.
Now, honestly, I'll be honest. From like a physical, like just looking, they look like a gorgeous couple, right? But like from just like some of the stuff she said, I don't know if I would want to be her as a person or if I would want to necessarily marry her myself as a person, but that's his his thing, you know. But as a couple, they look adorable. Now, I will say one thing she said that kind of was, I really was a huge Meghan Markle fan until she said she was going to raise her baby genderless, and then I stopped liking
She said that? I don't remember her saying that.
Yeah, she said that she's going to name her child raise her child without gender. Which she has a son, so, I mean, I guess she's going to dress him up in girl clothes and that sort of thing. I feel like that's abusive. I'm sorry. I don't care what people say. If you're just dressing up your 2-year-old in a dress, and I feel like that's not taking care of your baby at all.
That's weird. I didn't hear her say that.
So, but other than that, they look like an adorable couple.
Well, see, I was gonna ask you this off air. If you wanted to talk about like parents that encourage their children to be trans.
Yeah, that's basically what she was saying.
Like, well, so like, how do you feel about like parents that are getting their kids who haven't even been in the stage yet for puberty, but they're getting them ready to start taking hormonal pills and like, so that way when it, like, let's say they have a son, he feels that he's trans, he's a woman or a girl, he hasn't reached that puberty age yet, but they're, by preventing him like from getting like the testosterone, like they're making him take woman hormonal pills, so that way he starts developing more a feminine.
I mean, honestly, I have to come from the Christian's perspective on this. I mean, I'm a Christian, so of course I would never encourage that ever. And I guess I'm just more traditional. That's kind of why I stopped being a fan of Meghan Markle, because I feel like if you're really Christian and you really are trying to raise your kids right, you wouldn't even say something like that, especially when they're just a baby. Like, I mean, if they gave you some indication that that's what they want to do, that's one thing, but to say that before they're even out of diapers is like you're just kind of setting them up to already try to feel like something that they're not.
Yeah.
And try to confuse them and things like that.
I think like personally, I feel that if your child is starting to feel that way about themselves, because I do think you kind of do know what you like at a very young age, like as far as if you like the opposite sex or not. Because I mean I know from my own personal experience, I knew like right away that I liked boys. And
what
I was
age
like,
would you say you knew that?
I was like 4.
Really?
Like, yeah. And I remember like already like picturing like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get married and do all these things. And so I think like from a young age, some people do experience that. It may not be everybody, but you do. But I think that there should be some sort of like limit on when, as a parent, you should allow your kids to start taking hormonal pills to help them get to that point. Because I think when you're still young, like early teens, you're still so impressionable. There are some things like you really don't know. I mean, even like I was like 13, 14, and I was questioning if I was bisexual. So, you don't really know yet until you're at least 18 and you're like, okay, yeah, I do know for sure this is what I am. This is who I like. So I think that's when you should start,
I think
doing that transition.
I think a lot of that has to do with what the kids are watching, what the kids are looking at on YouTube, things like that. I mean, I know, one little kid, not gonna say who, but he basically he watches, I don't know if his mom knows he watches this, but he watches like transformation pictures or videos of like little boys that turn into little girls. So I think he probably is gonna want that when he's older, but a lot of that is what they see on the internet. He also watches one of the Disney shows that it's all boys. The whole cast is boys, and they don't like kiss or hug or anything or say the words like boyfriend. But like I watched like part of the show with him, and you could tell that like boys had feelings for the other boys.
Oh, really?
But they use the code word like friendship and things like that. So it's being kind of pushed in the media, on YouTube. There's boys doing, makeup tutorials now. But I mean, it's just kind of one of those things you have to, watch out for your kids and just see what's influencing them. But we will be right back on the Matchmaker Hotline, and we will see y'all in just a minute. Thank you.
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
This is former Rocket Robert Reed.
This is Mel Hewlett of Athletes Unite.
And we want to talk to you about our new program and podcast. We're talking about former athletes who are doing a lot of things in the community.
Various athletes in various sports. Swimming, track, soccer, football, baseball, you name it.
Former and current athletes here in the greater Houston area.
All promoting wellness, health. All promoting that which makes us all better.
Of Edge Radio, truth still matters.
About babies, and more babies. And then in the last few minutes, we're just going to wrap up with a few more baby topics. Breastfeeding. Should you breastfeed? Should you bottle feed? What do you think?
I'm kind of in between. I feel like if you can breastfeed, do it. If you can't, then that's perfectly okay. Don't like get mad at yourself because your baby doesn't want to latch on, or you're just not producing enough milk, it's fine. That happens.
Yeah, and it's if you're a working mom, you have to. I mean, you almost have to do the formula. And I don't think that people should butt in your business about whether you're breastfeeding or not. Just be happy that the child is getting fed. Period. And other than that, don't try to force it on them either way. I mean, it's great if they can breastfeed. Great. If they can't, oh well. I mean, don't shame moms. Mom shaming is a big thing. I don't know if when I have kids I'm going to breastfeed or not. I mean, it would be great.
What do you think about women that breastfeed in public?
I think that I totally think it's okay to breastfeed in public, but there's a certain way I think that's a little bit classier. Now, I'm not going to say that you can't not cover up at all, but I think it's a little bit classier if you at least just get a blanket and, just kind of try to cover up. Now, when they're just like pulling down their shirt and they got the baby right here, and I mean, that's just like traumatizing for some people. Like, there's a kid like, what's happening?
I was working at a restaurant for a little while. I remember this lady. She breastfed while she was having brunch with her girls, and I mean, you could see. I never saw a nipple, but her breast was fully out and the baby was just there eating. And I don't think anybody really felt uncomfortable by it. I think it's when you're able to see the nipple is when people start getting a little freaked out and you're like, oh, I don't want to see that. But personally, I wouldn't want anybody to see my full breast either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's just a principle. Like, do you really want people seeing your whole boob? Now, if you were just in a rush, you don't have a blanket, I understand. But there's definitely people who just like do it to make a point. Yeah. Especially the people like they get on like benches in the broad daylight, like on busy New York streets, and they're sitting there like breastfeeding their baby, and there's no blanket, no nothing. They've got like their full boob out, and it's like, come on now, girl. Like, you're just doing that to
make a statement.
Yeah, to make a statement. And, they'll film, like, people coming up to them being angry. And I don't think anyone should really talk to them or be angry.
Oh, yeah. I do not think that you should shame anybody, any mom for breastfeeding her child in public. The child's hungry. She breastfeeds. She has to, take care of her kid.
But I think that's also a big thing with this decade is because baby formula is so popular, people are more... Instead of being desensitized to it, we're more sensitive to it because you don't see that many people breastfeeding anymore, so it's even more of a like shocker if someone does it with no blanket, Now I'm gonna get really mad if someone says something and they have the blanket. Now I think that's like totally wrong. You can't even see anything. What's your problem? You know what I mean? You're just being extra at that point. Now, okay, charging. The next topic is charging for skin-to-skin contact. This was something that you were telling me that hospitals are doing, is charging the moms to have the baby lay on their chest. I don't understand that.
So this is kind of like a controversial topic. Well, not super controversial. Everybody agrees you shouldn't be charged for holding your child after birth. But whenever you get your hospital bill, and this is why like it comes down to like the conversation about healthcare, and it's so expensive, and why are we charging for miscellaneous things like that? Whenever a woman after she gives birth, it's normal to want to hold your child right after the birth. And apparently whenever some people get their hospital bills, there is a charge for skin-to-skin contact. Oh wow. And I don't really know like the average price that you're getting charged, but I mean it's enough to like you're noticing and you're like, why am I being charged for something that should be a normal thing?
Well, they say love is free, but apparently not. Okay. Yeah. I don't even know. I really want to know where they're doing this at, and I just think that that's super, super crazy. Yeah. You can't look forward to love your child anymore. There's a problem. Yeah. So our next topic is going to be toddler masks. Right now we're in the pandemic. Should your child be forced to wear a mask if they're, let's say 4 or under. I know legally they're not required to. I think if they're 12 or under, but
I think it's 10 and under.
10 and
I
under.
think that's what it was.
So what do you think about making children wear masks? I know that's like really like gets people heated, like, oh, your child should wear a mask, or no, they shouldn't, or I don't know.
I think if the CDC and if the state laws are saying, hey, 12 and under or 10 and under, they are not required to wear one, then they're not required to wear one. You should be worried about the adults that aren't out there wearing their masks properly or not wearing masks at all. That's what you should be worried about. But children, I mean, as a parent, that's up to you. If you want to have your toddler or your younger child wear a mask or not, that's completely up to you. I don't think if you should necessarily force them either. If they're kind of having a fit about it, then okay, don't wear it today. Try again tomorrow. You know, that's the best way to go about it. I don't think you should necessarily force that upon a young kid. They're not really understanding either what's going on.
Yeah. So adults, please wear your mask. Whether you choose to mask up your children is up to you. But I also don't think that, you know, if it's not your child, don't scream in someone's face about the mask. Don't even scream in an adult's face about the mask. I mean, people are just using this pandemic as a reason to fight within one another. And at the end of the day, let people do what they're doing and you worry about you. Because at the end of the day, we don't need more stress. And you don't know what someone's going through before you sit there and berate them. Think about, you know, what people could be going through. I mean, people are losing their jobs. It's not the time to be hateful, and just please be respectful to others. So that is the end of our show. So Mariah, Alina, how can we get in touch with you?
So you can follow me on all of my social media at Mariah A. Aguilar. That's Aguilar. And you can also find me at cpoppy on 92kelz.com. If you want to follow our Instagram page, that is at c.poppy92.
Okay, awesome. And I'm your host, Brianna Craig. And you can get in touch with me on Instagram at Brianna T. Craig or Facebook at just Brianna Craig. And I will see you next Wednesday. And Mariah will be with us as well. All right? Thank you so much. Thanks for watching.